Good morning, friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. It is a lovely August morning, nice and cool here in the shade. It's going to get hot today, but that's why I'm getting this work done now. I talked about what I needed to clean up in here, I don't know, last week or the week before, and I decided that today was the day to start tackling this, and I'm glad that I did. So as I've mentioned, I have this mint that has escaped years ago from one of the garden beds, and I just let it take over. It's wonderful. I usually cut on it, although I didn't do that this year. And normally I harvest a whole bunch of it to dry and turn into tea. But when I started moving things so that I could clear, I moved this bucket that is actually a mousetrap bucket, and it hasn't been baited in a long time. And it was full of water from, I don't know, maybe sitting here through rainstorms and stuff. When I dumped the water out, it smelled really bad, like something dead. And so I thought, probably not a good idea to eat any of the mint around here because there have been lots of, rats and mice and, things die. And so I just cleared it all out. There's plenty of rhizomes that'll just come back, and maybe it'll be safe for next year. I just didn't want to take a chance. And because it wasn't going to be being cooked, it's, going to turn into tea. It just didn't seem like a smart idea. So, and mint is ubiquitous, so I wasn't worried about getting rid of some of it. Okay, I still have a pretty major shrub I need to remove, and it has grown through the fence, so I'm gonna have to do it on both sides of the fence. This is a tulip poplar, just a seedling from one of these up here. It's actually growing on the other side of the fence, but it has grown through, and the grapevine is all tangled up in it, so it's going to be a job, but I do need to get rid of it because the bigger it gets, the more it's going to encroach here and really cause problems. But this is looking a whole lot better. So I got rid of a blackberry that grows out here. It will come back because it's probably super deep and it comes from the creek. But I was able to pull, that had weeded itself all through the corn and everything, so I got rid of that. And it just looks so much cleaner right now. So all the mint temporarily gone. I do need to put down fresh wood chips. And then I pulled out, cut it at the base, the blackberry that grows over there, and got rid of all of that. Challenging to do. I can't find my rose gloves, and so I was using regular garden gloves, and those thorns are so sharp. Next steps here, I'm going to get rid of this poplar, and then we'll see what other chores have to be done down here. We are going to get some storage today. I think that's the hope for down in the garden. I think what we've come up with is, instead of putting in a full-size shed that we're going to have to level the ground, build a platform, all that kind of stuff, and the fact that those tools, like the lawnmower, which I don't use up here, it gets used in the back of the house, is the only little spot of lawn that we have. And most of those big heavy tools I don't ever use in this garden. So I think what we're going to do is get something small to put up there that can hold all the chicken stuff, as well as the grow bags and planting mix and fertilizers and things like that, and the cloches and things that are used in this garden. It makes more sense for efficiency to have things where you use them. So later today we're going to go look and see what kind of storage would work for that, even if it's a handful or two of those storage benches, or those short countertop height opening things. As long as I have something to put all this stuff in down there in a space that can't grow anything well anyway, it will be much more efficient in this garden, and it'll let me put away a lot of the stuff that I lean up against the sides of the fence because I don't have any place else to put it, the trellises and things like that. So hoping to get that done today so that we can start emptying out the storage container. But since we're standing here, I want to show you how much this sweet potato has grown since just last week when I gave you the short garden tour. So this is 2 plants, and they're looking amazing. Now there's also beans in here, 2 beans, but it's just going crazy. This is exactly what I want to see. The ones in the grow bags are growing, but not nearly at this rate. So, this has more room to run. I'm super excited about that. And the cucumbers are huge now. they're doing really, really well. So I'm excited because I'm going to get more cucumbers. The rest of the garden is definitely starting to look haggard, as is normal this time of year. These are drying beans, so I'm letting those go. I do need to come in and water. All the oyas are empty. And I'm waiting on these tomatoes, waiting on them to put on a tiny bit of blush so I can harvest them and they can finish on the countertop. But it'll be nice to have some nice tomatoes so long as nothing eats them. So I also want to clear out this bed, well, at least of the cucumbers because they're dead. And since we're going to be pulling up this birdie's bed, I'll have to put it somewhere else. But there's 2 oyas in there, 2 small oyas. And so I think temporarily, or actually probably permanently, I will pick those out and put them in this bed that doesn't have any oyas. Although this one probably is going to need 3 of the small size. This bed is not on any irrigation and it did totally fine. The cucumbers did fine, but it's a lot of, you have to make sure that you don't miss any irrigating or it dries out real quick since it's a raised bed and there's nothing dripping on it. So, okay, let me go tackle that tulip poplar and then we'll keep working in the garden. I think I need to tame some tomatoes. Yeah, it's just gonna be a garden day. hot. Okay, so that's much better. This area that I worked on this morning, I mean, it's all loose. I need to get another layer of wood chips here this fall, but looking a whole lot better. I cleaned out everything except for the grape back here, and there's just a little bit of mint left, which is totally fine. The corn is looking good. I just wanted to show you that. I hope that nothing eats the ears before we get a chance to eat them. Anyway, another really good reason why I cleaned all this out is that is excellent rodent habitat. So I want to try to keep the weeds down as much as possible. Gives them fewer places to hide. Okay, so then I basically just started at this end of the garden and worked my way down, getting rid of weeds. And when I got down to the bottom here, I had to fix this area. So while we were away, this pipe right here, that's just an end point. And it didn't have a cap on it. It was crimped and duct taped, and it has been working fine like that for 4 years. Well, the tape finally wore through, and while we were gone, it was just a fountain of water. My neighbor helped us fix that. She was amazing. But that fountain of water caused a waterfall, basically, that dug out this big, big hole here. So I happened to have a bag of soil on hand, filled that in, took out the huge mustard that was dead, as well as one of the artichokes, which will come back. It was done for the year. And so this is ready for planting when I'm ready to put stuff in the ground. This artichoke will get cut down to the ground a little while later. I'm not doing it right now. And then I came through and I pulled up a lot of the dead stuff. But you can see I didn't want to take everything, because even though we've got powdery mildew on some of these, we've still got some baby pumpkins growing, and I don't want to sacrifice them. There's another one in there. So there's still squashes in here. I did come through. See, I didn't get all of the powdery mildew off of these because some of those leaves are actually shading some other stuff, tomatoes that I didn't stake. And so I'm just going to leave them be for now. These squashes pretty much aren't producing anymore, but they are alive and they're feeding the soil life. So that's why they are staying. This one is still putting new growth out, as well as flowers and fruit. So it gets to stay as well. This is Eryngium. I haven't taken it out because I don't need the bed space yet. And again, it's feeding the soil. So just going to let things do what they're doing until I need the space. But this is much more cleaned out because I did take a couple plants that were just completely done and dead. And same thing with some of the beans. But even though they look rough, again, leaving them while they're feeding the soil. They're not producing anymore, but that's okay. We've got a pumpkin back there. We've got a beautiful one here, which I hope will continue to grow. This shiso is absolutely beautiful. So I'm actually going to look up, I've never grown it or even eaten it. So I'm going to look up a recipe for tonight, because we are having barbecued pulled pork and barbecued pulled chicken that was left over from months ago dinner that's been in the freezer. So we're pulling those out because it's quick and easy. There's still a couple of squashes in here, so I'm letting this go. I took all the corn out of here because literally none of it did anything. It never grew. And so this is going to be carrot bed coming up starting next week. 1 row every week I'll be sowing for the next couple of months. So I will add lots of extra soil to this before we start growing carrots, because they need some good nutrition. And then I took a lot of the powdery mildew off of these plants because they're still producing fruit. So, as long as they're going to continue to produce, I'm going to continue to nurture them. And the only beans that came up here that these were Chinese red noodle beans. Only like 4 of them germinated, which is a real bummer, but something's better than nothing. So, also ended up cleaning out the cucumbers from this bed, and I'm leaving the peppers. I don't think they will produce more. I already harvested a bunch off of them. And then these are 2 I think they're California black-eyed peas in the front here. So the garden is not completely weed-free, but it's much, much better. The pathway's more easy to get up and down now because I took away a lot of this, a lot of the foliage that was here. Not only was it mildewed, but rodents had been eating on it. And so there was just no point in leaving it there. Mostly just a day of tidying in the garden, but when you get a lot done like that, it feels really good. All right, so tomorrow, I still have not had a chance to sow this week's seeds, and today is Friday. So tomorrow, Saturday morning, Mike and the boys are going over to the coast to do some stuff with friends. And so I'm going to stay here and get some more work done. Tomorrow morning is greenhouse morning. We're going to sow week 31 and week 32, because that's next week, seeds, and get those started. Oh, look, we do have a couple of tomatillos here. Yeah, those are looking good. This plant right here is full of flowers. I would love to make some tomatillo salsa this summer. So I'm hoping that we'll get a bunch off there. All right. I think that's going to be it for me today, you guys. On Sunday, I have some harvesting to do for orders that go in early Monday morning and a whole bunch of consignment stuff. So we'll be out at the farm on Sunday, potentially starting to work on building the raised bed because I got I think all the rest of the supplies that we needed today. And yeah, it'll be so nice to get back out there and get more work done. And talk about weeding. That place is just out of control. I feel like the garden is under so much control for weeds. There's hardly any here. I guess that's what happens if over many, many years of weeding. I've exhausted the majority of the seed bed. All right, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.